He was Africa's first democratically elected leader. Young, brilliant, charismatic, unapologetically African. Within months, he was gone, beaten, executed, dissolved in acid. This is not just the story of Patrice Lumumba. It is the story of a continent's struggle and the empire that refused to let go. His name would haunt history. His death would become a rallying cry. And the truth behind it, buried in redacted files, secret orders, and colonial guilt. This is the story of how Congo's freedom was assassinated. To understand Lumumba's story, you must begin decades before he was born. In 1885, the Congo wasn't just a colony, it was the personal property of one man, King Leopold II of Belgium. He named it the Congo Free State, but it was anything but free. Over 10 million people died under his rule. A genocide of silence. Villages were burned, children's hands cut off for failing to meet rubber quotas. Photos, archival images of Congolese porters, whippings, mutilation. By 1908, after international outrage, Belgium annexed the Congo, but the exploitation continued, now masked by civility. Congolese children were taught European names, indigenous languages suppressed. Less than 20 Congolese had a university education by the 1950s. They were told they were inferior, that they needed Europe to govern them. But the world was changing. Patrice Emery Lumumba was born on July 2, 1925, in Onalua, a small village in eastern Congo. He was intelligent, curious, a voracious reader. As a young man, he worked as a postal clerk, a rare position for a Congolese. Fluent in French, articulate and charismatic, he began writing letters to newspapers, questioning colonial injustice. He quickly rose to prominence. In 1958, he traveled to Ghana to attend the All-African People's Conference. There, among freedom fighters like Kwame Nkrumah and Frantz Fanon, he found his calling. Pan-Africanism, the belief that Africa must be ruled by Africans, united, sovereign, and proud. Returning home, Lumumba helped found the MNC, Mouvement National Congolais. His platform was electrifying: unity, anti-colonialism, economic justice. The party cut across ethnic lines, an anomaly in a divided Congo. In 1960, as Belgium hurried to exit a country they could no longer control, elections were held. Lumumba won. He was named the Congo's first prime minister. Joseph Kasavubu, another nationalist, was appointed president. On June 30th, 1960, independence was declared. The world watched. Belgium's King Baudouin gave a condescending speech, praising colonialism as a civilizing mission. And then Lumumba stood up. His speech wasn't on the program. It was off script, unapologetic, defiant. Audio excerpt, original Lumumba voice, translated. "We are no longer your monkeys. We have suffered humiliations, insults, and beatings. Our wounds are too fresh to be forgotten. We are not beggars of freedom. We earned it with our blood." The speech sent shockwaves. To his people, Lumumba was a hero. To the West, he was a threat. Belgium's plan to maintain quiet control had just exploded on live television. Within days of independence, the country descended into chaos. The Force Publique, Congo's army, still led by white Belgian officers, mutinied. Soldiers demanded pay, ranks, and respect. Violence erupted. Belgian civilians fled. Belgium sent paratroopers back in to protect their citizens, but really to reassert control. Katanga, the mineral-rich province in the south, seceded under Moise Tshombe, backed by Belgian mining interests. With over 50% of Congo's export income from Katanga, the young nation was bleeding out. Lumumba was boxed in, betrayed from within, besieged from outside. He turned to the United Nations for help, but the UN, under Secretary-General Dag Hammarskjöld, refused military intervention in Katanga. So Lumumba made a desperate move. He invited Soviet assistance. To the CIA, that was the final straw. In August 1960, CIA Director Allen Dulles cabled the Leopoldville station. Lumumba is a threat. He must be eliminated. A plan was formed. Sidney Gottlieb, the CIA's poison expert, arrived in Congo with a tube of poisoned toothpaste. Other options were debated: a plane crash, an ambush. But it wasn't just America. Britain's MI6 discussed similar plans. So did Belgian intelligence. Miniatures Mobutu meeting CIA handlers, files exchanged in the dark. The West found their man in Colonel Joseph Désiré Mobutu, Lumumba's former ally.
On September 14, Mobutu launched a coup. Lumumba was placed under house arrest. He tried to flee, to reach Stanleyville, his last stronghold, but he was captured, beaten, bound, dehumanized. On January 17, 1961, Patrice Lumumba was flown to Katanga. He was already battered, bloodied. That night he was executed by firing squad, alongside his allies Maurice Mpolo and Joseph Okito. Belgian officers helped organize the operation. Congolese rebels pulled the trigger. His body was cut up, dissolved in acid, burned. No grave, no body, no justice. Only decades later would it be revealed. A Belgian police officer took a souvenir, a single tooth. For decades, the official story was silence. Belgium denied involvement. The CIA refused comment. The UN washed its hands. But testimonies began to leak. Journalists dug deeper. Files were declassified. A global movement demanded the truth. In 2002, Belgium admitted moral responsibility. The Prime Minister issued a formal apology. Still, no prosecutions, no reparations. The CIA's full role? Still redacted. But Lumumba didn't die. Not really. His name echoed across Africa, in Ghana, Tanzania, Guinea, South Africa. He became a symbol of resistance, of uncompromising dignity. Streets, universities, revolutions bore his name. Che Guevara called him a hero. Nelson Mandela mourned him. Malcolm X declared, "Lumumba's murder makes it plain that the West will never support true African independence." In 2022, 61 years after his murder, Lumumba's remains, what little was left, were returned to his family. A single tooth, handed over by the Belgian government in a symbolic casket. His son said, "This is not closure. This is only the beginning." Because Lumumba never truly died. He lives in the fight for justice, in the resistance to neo-colonialism, in the dream that Africa still carries. Patrice Lumumba believed in a Congo that belonged to its people, not to Europe, not to America, not to corporations. He was killed because of that belief. And today, as new powers rise and old powers return under new names, his ghost still walks, warning us, calling us, demanding that we never forget what freedom truly costs.